Now, let me ask you about MES alumni. Now, I always tell, okay, quick shout out to MES alumni members. Samra, you're doing a wonderful job. And as I told you last time, I'm from IES Public School Chitlapalli, which is also started by MES School Management. I should also get an honorary membership because I'll apply for it. Oh, if you, I don't know what requires.
As of now, the bylaw doesn't allow. We'll see.
No, we will rewrite the bylaw to at least give me an honorary membership because I actually want to be a part of MES alumni as well. So you've held a couple of positions, like you've been vice president and the president, I believe. So what all activities are MES alumni into? Like what all you do as a community?
See, the community is very big. Like, we have probably 30,000, 40,000 people who passed out of MES ever since 1984.
Okay.
So first batch passed out in 1984. So we have 42 batches now. So huge number of students who are there as ex-students are there. So one is what we're trying to do is, try to bring them together. One, collect their database, collect the where they're working, where they are in, which part of the world they are. So that has been a big challenging process to connect with them. So we've managed somehow, I think, to get probably close to 5,000, 6,000 people's database on board, of which probably half of them are in Doha, which is, again, in Doha, if you see, MES is there everywhere. Like, in other day we went to VFS. He's like, are you an alumni president? So, and he's also alumni. So MES, our students are there everywhere. So we've been trying to bring them together. We were more a sports driven association, like initially. So we had something called the MESF, the football tournament and everything, which was initially, that was the thing which brought MES alumni and reignited MES alumni, because it was between, it had gone idle for a long time. And then we kind of branched out when we had our term initially was with Shaheen was president, I was vice president, and in that term we branched out to other activities. We started something in honor of our late principal, B.K. Mamakunyi sir, which is probably one of the most, can say, the most important activities which we have in the calendar, which is the B.K. Mamakunyi elocution or a competition, speech competition, where first year what we did was we just did it for ME students. Second year we did it for the CBSE students, all the 19 CBSE schools. Third year we put an advertisement in social media, in the newspapers. We call all the schools of Qatar to come and participate. So we had the Doha British School and even the international schools coming and participating, and that was amazing to hold something in honor of our late principal, who was a revolutionary leader, who made MES, and to do something like that, and to do it on a scale where all the schools in Qatar are participating, which was amazing. And so that was one of the highlights of, I can say, our term. And apart from that, we try to bring back the spirit of annual day. So annual days are always fun. MES annual days, if you attended, none of these other schools, I respect all other schools, but none of the other schools' annual days match MES annual days. It's like a proper extravaganza and cultural fiesta. So to bring back that feeling of annual day, we started something called Jashan. So which is like a batch-wise reunion we did, and we had a grand Jashan where all the batches came together. Ex-students were performing, even I performed, singing, dancing, games, food counters, and just to bring back the community, bring in the network, and even from that networking, new friendship, new bonds, they come. People, they've even professional help they might get through that network, and it's just nice to get the community together. And we've been trying to do that with Onam celebrations, many things we do throughout the year, and also we connect the old teachers with our present students.
Okay.
So we have something called Meet the Teacher.
Okay.
So every Teacher's Day, we call our old teachers, and we have to do an online session with our present students.
Mm-hmm. So, no, see, what I've learned is you're trying to bring all the people, all the alumni members together. So how many members would be there in Qatar, in the alumni?
Roughly 3,000 people.
3,000
people. 3,000 people will be there in Qatar.
So mostly these alumni members are all placed somewhere in key positions.
Definitely.
So actually people, I don't know how many people would understand the scale of this, So to have a network of alumni members, all 3,000 members across different organizations.
3,000, I'm talking about, when I'm thinking about it, 3,000 just probably the ones which registered with us.
Okay.
non-registered will be
Much more,
much
much
more
more.
because
Yeah.
every year, I don't know, 400, I don't know, I don't know how many students pass out every year now. Maybe 400, 500 students pass out every year now, or more than that, I don't know.
More than that for
Yeah.
sure. I think
So,
that, yeah.
this maybe boys section only 400, 500, maybe more than
Yeah.
that. So definitely, because MES strength itself is 10K plus.
Yes, yes.
So definitely maybe 1,000 students, close 1,000 students pass every year. So yeah, going back to the question, yeah,
Yeah.
we got
No, no.
deviated.
So, I just wanted to ask, like, are you guys doing any community service as such as a group? Or
Uh,
maybe this is something that you can plan to do, right? I mean, with the scale of members that you have.
We have, see, we have done things like blood donation camps, and one of the significant things which we've been doing for the last many years has been doing Ramadan,
Okay.
uh, with in collaboration with Amanat Solanki's, you know,
He's also an MES
mission,
alumni?
yeah,
Yeah.
Mission 20.
Hmm.
We do something called Ramadan Goodness Drive,
Okay.
where we obviously with the help of the community members and also their network of corporates, we gather funds and we distribute food kits to the poor, to the needy, and both in within Doha and back in India as well. So these are two initiatives which we have done, and this is Ramadan Goodness Drive, something which we do recurring every year. And also, our teachers, we are in touch with our teachers back home, our old teachers, and every now and then something comes up over there in their care of, like, sometimes a home to be built for ex staff or something, medical help for ex staff. We try to pull in and do, but this is things which ad hoc. These
Okay.
are not planned even, but these are ad hoc. Whenever when something comes like that, we do that. But something planned in our calendar is Ramadan Goodness Drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, now I need to ask you about, because I've been to your office, I've seen that you have a collection of a lot of medals, which you said you bought it online, right?
Yeah, Amazon. You can find them all on Amazon.
No, I wish I could do that, without putting in effort. If I could just order online, it would be nice. But some of them were very unique medals. But what I've understood, it's from different marathons or so. Like, what is your routine? As in, like, do you run marathon every year, or
See, I have
how do
not.
you find time?
So one thing, correct, is I have not run a marathon. Marathon is
Yeah.
42 kilometers.
Okay.
So
So half marathon.
So I have gone
Quarter.
up to half marathon. I have gone up to
Yeah.
half marathon. I have gone. That was last year, which we did. Me and Shaheen went for Burj Khalifa to Burj Al Arab, kind of a.
Okay.
It was a. Yeah, it starts at 5 a.m. and we had to complete within 3 hours. So both of us qualified. So half marathon I have done. So running is something which I have picked up since, like, almost I think 2018. From 2018 onwards, I've been I've been running. Started with small jogs around my house for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you go to YouTube, if you search my name, you can still find my old videos over there. So I used to get very excited when I used to did my first 1 kilometer, then 2 kilometers, then 3 kilometers, then, like, finally 5 kilometers. Yeah, 5 kilometers, and then I started. We used to have this Kata running series every. You still have it, I think. Every Friday they have these runs. So I used to go and participate those runs and try to improve my time. Like, I think my best is around 5 kilometers. I did in 25 minutes, 24 minutes, something like that. And that has been, like, something which obviously helped fitness, but it kind of started, like, I got inspired by some of my family members, and I just picked it up. And I've never been a sports person back in school, by the way. So I never played. I mean, I used to play cricket during PT period. That's it, but nothing else.
Yeah.
So, but this is something which helped me, like, and this is not team sports. This is something which I can decide. Okay, I want to go run after this interview. I can go and run. I don't have to call anyone, ask for company or anything. So that's something which I picked up, and I've been doing it for the last now 7 years, 8 years.
So
and
even now you're continuing. It's like a daily routine.
so now I don't do long runs. I do
Okay.
shorter runs. So now I've picked 1.5, 2 months back. I picked up again picked up gym. So trying to do a bit of strength training plus, because problem is, if you do only runs, you lose a lot of weight, and also
Okay.
you lose a lot of muscles as
Muscle,
well.
yeah, muscle, yeah.
And I think there's we used to have a member called Olu Blamadeli, who was part of Pioneers chapter as
Okay.
well, and Phoenix chapter. He used to say that after 30 you lose half a pound or half a gram, something like that, of muscle every year. So obviously
to do weight training.
So weight training is important. Weight
Yeah.
training plus cardio, which like run side. Both you need to go side by side. If you ignore weight training and do only cardio, the problem is when you become 65 or not 65, maybe 70 plus, you become like this. You bent, because
Yeah.
your body doesn't have strength. Your knees will have issues.
Mm.
So it's very important to, because I think they say most people they just walk. This is and they say India is a country of walkers and Johnny Walkers. This is something I read somewhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is true, because you can see a lot of people walking, but the problem with walking is if you just do walking, it's just cardio. It isn't. You would reach a point where in the when you're 70 plus, I mean, you have seen people saying knee pain, joint
Yeah.
pain, all this kind of back pain. So it is very important to balance both. And I think I understood that. I knew that, but I never implemented it.
Mhm.
So other day when I went to the doctor, he said like your back is getting weak. So then I said, okay, it's time now to start gym.
Okay. Okay. So maybe the next thing that I want to ask is about Al Mufta, your plans for the future. Like, how do you find, or what is your plan for the next 5 years for Al Mufta or 10 years?
So definitely, see, we want to have more presence network within Doha itself. Qatar itself is right now expanding, you can say. So as part of that, we've recently opened our branch in Pearl, Qatar.
Okay. I
In
remember you asked me for a Pearl Qatar space.
I
This
did.
was
Okay.
last year.
Okay. Yeah,
And then,
we've been trying for the space for quite a while.
yes, but we didn't get anything. But
Yeah.
I don't know,
So
some
luckily we
lucky
got a
agent.
very nice place. We are in Porter area, tower number 8. We are facing the marina, next to the yacht club. So amazing place, and it's been amazing response as well. We started this branch now, last week of May, and so we are now focusing more. We are trying to build our B2C business as well.
Okay.
Uh, 5 years down the line, obviously, we want to improve our market share within Qatar. At the same time, we are operating in Bahrain as well. We have, obviously the regional tensions and all these kind of issues happen right now. Obviously, has impacted Bahrain, as you know from news,
Yeah.
quite a
Mm.
bit. But nevertheless, it's a good market, and we're trying to improve our, business or volume over there as well. We are looking at some other regional countries as well going forward to improve our regional presence. So going forward, we want to become a regional name, not just
Okay.
Qatar and Bahrain. We want to become a regional name, maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, inshallah. Al Mustalika has to be a regional name within GCC,
Inshallah,
inshallah.
inshallah. So right now in Qatar, how many branches do you have?
So Qatar now, our head office is on Deering Road,
Deering
and
Road,
then
yes.
we have our branch in the airport, which is
Airport.
24/7.
Yeah.
We have in Al Khor and Pearl, so 4 branches,
4 branches, yeah.
supported by our garage and service center in Barkat Lawamir and in Tumama.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very sure a lot of young professionals, entrepreneurs are listening to you. Your message to the young entrepreneurs. So, what do you feel? Maybe if there is one key takeaway that they can take from you, what would be that? Like, what is your one advice that you have for young entrepreneurs that can help them?
So we are right now in a changing world right now. So technology so as you see, the AI revolution is coming in, and Qatar is properly it's a small market. It's a 2.5 to 3 million people market. It's a lot of competition in every other sector. And many a times what I feel is new businesses trying to enter each segment, they use pricing as their strategy, and I think that is something which is a wrong way to go, because if you see in the current market, you run a business as well, like you manage a business as well, the overheads have not gone down. The overheads have increased over the years. Whether it's your rent, whether it's your salaries and things like that. So ensuring that, like, going to a business where, like, you think, okay, I will, if he's charging 100, I'll start the business who's charging 80, but tomorrow someone comes and start with 60. This is a never ending spiral.
Yeah.
So that should never be a strategy to enter the market. You should have something which is differentiating, something which is niche. Back in the day, we didn't have to do that struggle, but back in the day, 71, my father and my uncle thought about something which was down there in the market. Okay. Car rental.
Yeah.
So that was a novel concept. It was, they pioneered the concept into Qatar. Obviously, now almost all the concept must have got pioneered, but then look into areas where you can give some value added addition
Okay.
rather than just trying to compete with others on the same product, same market, same pricing, everything. if you have something which is highly differentiating, you are able to add value to customers, and obviously have a good, you can say, war chest, they say, in terms of like,
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah.
Because Qatar market can get brutal because, overheads, things like this war can,
Yeah.
we never predicted this.
Right.
So,
Yes.
people should keep at least a good 6 months to 8 months working capital with them. And then if you're new, keep at least 1 to 2 years for sure, because the gestation period is longer in Qatar now to break even and
Yeah.
things like that. So, take calculated risks. Uh, don't go overly aggressive. Ensure that wherever you're entering, you're doing some value addition. Don't just compete on pricing. This will be the
So
message.
basically, you should have a competitive advantage
Competitive
over
advantage.
your
Yes,
competitors, right? So
exactly,
this is where you differentiate, and
exactly,
then provide more value
exactly.
to customer, right? So in the beginning of the interview, you mentioned something like pampering the customers, right? So I always tell my team, like what we do at Alumin Properties is that we pamper our tenants to a point where they don't feel like leaving.
True, true,
So we have tenants who have been with us for 10 years,
true.
like on an average 5 years. So this is what we do as
And
well.
that's how you
We
build loyal.
pamper them.
That's how you build loyalty. That's how you build referrals from your customers, and that's
Yes.
how you build a business. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So you mentioned that your father and your uncle both were working for the Jeda Group. So this is a doubt that I've had for a long time. Okay. So this Jeda flyover. I've heard my father. My father used to be here for like 15 years, not long before, like 2005 to 2020. So he used to tell me that Jeda flyover was the first flyover in Qatar. So I kind of believed him so far, but now I have somebody who have lived all your life in Qatar, and your father. You might have heard from your father. So is this true? As in, was it the first flyover in
Yeah,
Qatar?
obviously, it is the first flyover in Doha. I mean, we have. I was technically born in India, but then always brought up in Doha. So, entire, we've seen Qatar grow over the last, you know 40 plus years, which I have seen, obviously. uh, Back in those days, obviously there was only one flyover, and community was more close knit, I can say, because we used to find more time to go into, play in Mundaza Park or Alcor Gardens, as family, do picnics and stuff. But things were more slow paced back then. We used to, my kind of weekend kind of activity was, there was a supermarket called Dubai Supermarket,
Okay.
next to Jeddah flyover. So
Okay.
our activity was going to supermarket and just buying grocery. That was kind of like a weekend activity which I used to look forward to. And I used to be, we used to never go to, because that time there was no hypermarket. So we had the Almira cooperative, cooperative. It was called something, I think.
But it was still called
No,
Almira.
it wasn't called Almira. It was called cooperative, I think.
Okay.
So we used to, people used to, when people used to go to shopping over there, I used to be jealous of them, because they used to go to a bigger, like a store, to do shopping and everything. So things were, simple. We used to have our first office in Musharraf, which is very close to Jeddah flyover. And we used to have a superstar video next to our office, where we used to rent video cassettes every weekend. And
Yeah, Superstar Video. I've
yes.
heard this name before.
Yeah, so there was only two video shops, I think. Superstar Video, one was Star World Video.
Okay.
So things were like, much more, I think, close knit, calmer, simpler back in the days. And obviously, with time, Qatar has grown, like leapfrogged. Can say last 30 years, 25 years. When I went to, for example, when I 2002, when I went to UK, it was very difficult to introduce myself in terms of where I came from. Well, obviously, I'm from India, but then where I lived all my life, when I say Qatar, they don't know where Qatar is, and none of the British audience knew where Qatar is. And then I used to tell, even Bahrain at that time was famous.
Okay.
Bahrain, because it was a hub, it was a financial hub. We had Gulf Fair, which was again a hub in Bahrain.
So
So
we didn't have any airlines for Qatar?
Qatar Airways was there at the time,
Okay.
so it was just getting this, just catching up, and then people, at that time, I used to remember on BBC, Qatar Airways used to keep on running regular ads.
Yeah.
I think probably people started knowing about Qatar from Qatar Airways. Qatar Airways is a big branding for Qatar, definitely in those days, initial days, and I think things changed for Qatar when that FIFA was announced.
Okay.
2010, 2011, whenever it was announced, that was the time when Qatar finally got its name on the map.
Yes,
And
yes,
then onwards, now it is like everyone knows. Now, everyone knows and everyone's amazed. The fans who came during FIFA World Cup was amazed. My friends who came, I had friends from UK who came to watch the World Cup,
yeah,
and they were like amazed, mind blown. With the infrastructure, with the facilities, with the ease of like going from one stadium to another stadium. Uh, you know, now the Doha airport, for example.
yeah.
Back in the day, I went for a Europe tour when I was in, I don't know, seventh or eighth, and went to London, I went to Amsterdam and Paris with the school. This a group, and
School trip.
so it's a school trip. It was called education tour, but it was not educational. It was just a fun trip. But when it was school organizes,
MES school used to take you to Europe on the seventh
not
and eighth grade.
obviously we had to pay for it.
No, but still, I
Yeah.
mean, I went to, I think, Malambura Dam, something in Palakkad. Yeah, yeah.
So I was one of the fortunate one, and to go on the school trip. For probably around 30 students of us, mix of boys and girls. We went to London, Paris, and then at that time, seeing the airport was like amazing. Wow! And then, to be honest, when I came back from Amsterdam, I think to Doha, and I looked at Doha airport, I was like feeling so depressed. So just like small. It was not as exciting as one of those airports. But now, when you travel, I don't think any of the European airports or any of the American airports or airlines, they match to what we are enjoying over here right now in Qatar. So we are blessed in many ways that we have got world class stuff within reach.
Yeah.
Like, Qatar, good thing about Qatar is everything is within half an hour to 1 hour maximum. You don't have to travel a lot like other countries to
Yeah.
access facilities, luxuries, whatever. Like, and obviously, government over here has been extremely kind to the expatriates as well in terms of whatever they have been providing in terms of healthcare and other areas of infrastructure and things like that.
No, like I'm always in awe of the government here. The kind of leadership that we have. We are blessed to have them. And to be in that country. Which other country can weather something like a blockade, followed by COVID, followed by when you have a World Cup? I don't know how many countries in the world, developed countries, established countries who have a big legacy. I don't know how many countries could pull off all these things and the World Cup like Qatar did. I think I love to think nobody can do that. So it's all because of the leadership
True.
and the vision they have. And as you said, they take care of because we are 90%, maybe 85% expatriates in this country, and they take care of all the people like their own. So this is what, and the intention, the right
No,
intention.
they
is
have a
there, yeah.
large heart when it comes to when there's a turmoil, when there's an issue, whether it's global, regional happening. They have a large heart in terms of how they approach the businesses over here. So what I've noticed is the government has large heart over here when it comes to businesses when they're going through a regional turmoil issues or other global issues. Right now we have
Issues,
the issues happening in terms of what is happening in the Iran and US and things like that. And even before, like you said, the blockade and the COVID. Uh, we had, like I said, we have the garage in Manatak area. One of the first things which happened in that COVID phase was they immediately slashed the rent for us for our warehouses. I mean, for our land in the Manatek. They gave interest-free loans at that time for the businesses to work for the working capital to cover your salaries and to cover your rent. They give interest-free moratorium on your loans. All these things obviously gives more breathing space to the companies over here, especially when they're going through such struggles. And so, government over here is never stingy when it comes to helping out the businesses. Obviously, someone can argue there are other minuses and things, but there's minus everywhere across the globe. But then in this region, this country, we can find more plus in terms of supporting the businesses, especially during the struggling phases.
Another thing that I wanted to check with you. You said MEAs was started in 1984.
74.
74.
1974.
How many years now? Like, what, 50 years?
50 plus years, 50, yeah,
So,
52 years.
was it the first Indian or
Yes.
maybe big, I don't know. Was it
Indian-
among the first schools in
the
Qatar?
First Indian school in Qatar. So MES was started by 87 like-minded people. So back then it was not initiated for any kind of profit motives or anything like that. It was just born out of necessity. It was the first expatriates who came to Doha in 60s and 70s. Their kids were growing up. They didn't have schools, including my brother, for example. He didn't have a school to go to. And I think they were battling the idea of, like, all these parents were battling the idea of putting their kids back home in kind of I don't know, hostels or boarding schools, or leave them with their grandparents. So it was at that situation, at that point, I think they came together and started, they thought about the idea of opening the first Indian school. Obviously, they had also their uh, struggles. I mean, if it's a completely different episode if we go into that. But they had their own struggles, setting up the first Indian school. They started out of a rented premises in Salata, and then gradually the government of Qatar graciously gave them land where the current school is located in Abu
It's a
Hamur.
large parcel of land, right? I
Large
mean, it's
parcel
a
of
big
land.
land. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many acres, but it's a large parcel of land. Obviously, it was one of the Indian president, Mr. Late Zail Singh, visited Qatar in 1980s,
Okay.
and I believe his recommendation to the emir played a crucial role
Mm-hmm.
in MES getting land, because MES was trying for land for a long period of time because the community, the schools was growing. MES even back in those days had to do evening shift,
Yeah.
because the number of students was too heavy for them to handle. And mashallah, it has grown to be one of the largest schools, obviously, in the region.
Mm-hmm.
And not only just in terms of infrastructure, but even in terms of academics, sports, cultural, all aspects. The school has been doing amazingly well. And I think uh, I think in many ways it's the intention of the people who started this, the cleanliness. I mean, you can say they started with a noble mission.
Yeah.
So that nobility has obviously seen through the last 52 years and seen the growth of MES.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about the intention, we also have to talk about the vision, because the same management started IES Public School in Thrissur. I think they started in '94. So when I joined IES in '98. So when I joined, I was thinking why these guys took up 40 acres of land, and this was just two buildings, and the whole lot of acres left untouched. By the time I passed out in 2006, we had a lot more buildings to accommodate more people. We had a masjid, we had a boys hostel, we had a ladies hostel, we had an engineering college, we had a teachers training college, and then now it's called an IES education city.
City, yes.
So the kind of vision that they had many years back to take up a large parcel of land and then build on it year by year. So this
True,
is what visionary leaders do, right?
true.
So amazing. Okay. So now um, you spoke about the sports running activity that you do, and are you also involved in any other community, let's say any other organizations that you're part of other than BNI?
Obviously, I'm part of, member of the organizations which is like ICC, ICBF, IBPC, um, ISC. But actively, you can say, I was joint secretary of KBF in the second term under the presidency of Jairaj, and general secretary was Shaheen at that phase. Apart from that, I've I have a liking towards organizations which are more involved with humanitarian causes
Okay.
and charitable initiatives. So I'm part of two such organizations. One is MSS, Model Service Society. We do a lot of activities back in Kerala in terms of building houses, uh, education to the needy, and also I'm also vice president of an organization called Peace Valley.
Okay.
Peace Valley is quite famous in Kodamangalam, and also in all of Kerala. I can say right now it's becoming quite a well-known organization where they have they take care of people who have disabilities, people who are battling cancer, renal failures, mental issues, children with disabilities. They try to train them to get back into society. So they have early intervention programs, and it's a wonderful organization now, almost catering about 1,000 patients right now.
Okay.
So I'm fortunate to be part of that chapter. Obviously, see, I have positions in all these organizations, but these positions are just like ornamental. But it's more about the joy of being able to work towards these causes where you can see impact, where you can impact lives.
Yeah.
And this is something which probably our parents also taught us, because end of the day, we are all here in this world visitors, isn't it? So
Yeah.
we'll all leave one day, and what you can leave behind is someone is kind of a legacy where you have impacted people's life. You have left goodness, and you have left good thoughts, good memories. And I think that is probably more important for me as well, in the larger uh, face of things. So that's something which I've also dedicated a lot of time of my life in terms of active associations. Other associations I do involve myself, but I tend to, shy away from taking big roles with them. But because I find more peace and more energy in these kind of organizations.
Okay, so interesting that you mentioned about dedicating more time. So this is another question that I had in mind. So you're running a couple of businesses. You are actively involved in also BNI and some other organizations. You are finding time to run and spend time with the family. So how do you balance your time? You have more than 24 hours in a day. Like, is that so?
I don't think I have a huge strain on my, to be honest, on my 24 hours. It's a pretty, I give priority to work-life balance. I mean, see, if you want to become like a billionaire, like a Yusuf Ali Khan or something like that, you have to sacrifice something. You have to sacrifice. I mean, he himself in his interviews have told that he's sacrificed his family life to build an empire. Some people have that drive, mashallah, to do that. So
Yeah.
you have to first set your own priorities, what you want in terms of do you want that, or do you want to have a work life balance, or things, such things, priorities have been set, has to be set by the individual. So for me, work life balance is important. I need to spend time with my children. I need to spend time with my family, with my wife, with my mother, with my brother. So we make sure that the weekends we don't take up any kind of other engagements. Because one of the main reasons I'm not part of taking active roles in associations, things like, because if people who are part of associations, with no due respect to them,
Yeah.
they have to dedicate the entire week
Yeah.
to activities. My father was, president of ICBF. For 2 terms, so I have seen him. So I have seen, like, I have not seen him for weekends.
Yeah.
I don't probably have a lot of memories of going out on a holiday with him, for example, or going out on the weekends with him, because he'll be busy with school or with ICBF or some ICC or some or other associations he was part of. Like, was part of multiple organizations, and he used to honor, I think, each and every invitation which he got. But for me, I think, I've learned the art of saying no now. Initially I've through a lot of experiences, so I tend to keep my weekends free for my family. And obviously the weekdays is usually the work takes up probably the entire day, but weekends is part for the family. So that's how I have the work life balance, and ensure that at least at least 7 to 10 days in a year, go out for a nice holiday with the family. To take the kids around. Just so that when they grow up, also they also have good memories with their parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an amazing share. Thank you so much, Fazil, for your time. And then it was a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Chitan.
Thank you.